Hey everybody, I'm here with Steven. We are part of Team Covenant and we're here to talk about a wonderful adventure pack called The Three Trials. What do you think about this?
I think I haven't even really seen it yet.
You haven't even?
Not as much. You know, this came out like right before Gen Con and just couldn't dive into it, getting everything ready for that. So now it's time to really take a look at what I've missed.
Doing some diving, huh?
Let's dive in.
It's time for some diving. All right, so this is the second pack and it comes with a new hero, which is what we're going to start with. So let's do that.
Let's start with her. It's what, Idraen?
Idraen? I don't know.
You've got the Tolkien pronunciation guide, I'm sure, in your room.
Yeah. It's on a poster.
Idraen.
It's laminated.
This is an 11 threat, 2 quest or willpower, 3 attack, 2 defense, 4 health. This is pretty standard stat line for 11. Dunedain Ranger Scout. Very cool keywords there, very important keywords. And after a location is explored, ready her.
Ready her.
It is a lady, right?
It is a lady.
Sometimes when there's elves involved, they get into trouble.
She's a very handsome lady. But yeah, this is a solid hero. I think she's the first hero we've seen with that scout trait, and there's going to be something that'll go with that quite nicely in this same pack. No,
are there other Spirit Rangers?
Oh,
I've seen them out of lore a million times. But
I
maybe one.
Can't remember if there is a Spirit Ranger. I don't think there is.
This could be the first Spirit Ranger, which is also an excellent title.
Yes,
Spirit Ranger would be an amazing class if you were playing Lord of the Rings role playing.
If this were Avatar, it'd be right there. Up there with like a Spirit Bender.
So 2 quests, solid. 3 attack is pretty impressive.
That's nuts for Spirit. So I think this is really great. It's got great stats, decent cost, and that effect fits right in with what Spirit likes to do anyway.
Does it seem to you like this, like the spheres are kind of getting less
muddled?
Yeah.
Not less muddled, but more muddled, less like defined.
Less defined, but like muddled and I think in a good sense for me, whereas like I like playing Spirit, but sometimes I wouldn't like to only ever quest. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So there's those kinds of things where maybe playing certain spheres is now a little bit more interesting. You can kind of play your sphere in whatever way you want to play it, and I really like that.
Sure.
As long as it doesn't go too far, where it's like we're all the same.
They lose their definition.
But okay, so you're going to quest her because if you got an active location, if you got a location that you're wanting to explore, you're probably going to try and knock it out in that turn.
Yeah.
I guess that's why you went there last turn. So you knock it out. She stands back up. Now she can swing for 3 or defend for 2.
That's right.
Seems really solid.
Yeah, and those are things that Spirit really just had trouble with. You know, sometimes they do have to take the baddie that they don't want to take, and this quest specifically, since we've already played it, does that for you. So it's good to have the ability as a Spirit player to just fall back on somebody who isn't just a chud who's going to die at the first hit they take. Yeah.
If we ever see a card that's like, exhaust a hero and put X on the active location, like right. That's going to be wicked on her.
Yeah, totally.
So keep an eye out.
It's good combo.
It could be coming.
Good combo.
All right, what do you want, Robert? Do you want Leaf Brooch?
I think we can start with the Leaf Brooch.
Do it.
Brooch. Let's see. So it is an attachment. It's neutral. It's 1 cost and an item, of course. And it says attached to a hero, if I could say that. Limit 1 per hero. The first event card you play each round that matches the attached hero sphere gains secrecy 1.
Interesting.
It's pretty cool, actually.
So the first event, if you have less than 20 threat, is reduced by 1.
Correct.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So long as it matches that sphere. So if it's on a Spirit hero, all the Spirit events -1 if you're in secrecy.
That could be amazing.
Yeah, this is really cool. It helps a lot with hobbits, a lot with specific Spirit decks, or not Spirit decks, I mean secrecy decks that are, of course, at 20 or below threat. Because unless they're playing resourceful, which most are generally, but this at least gives them a workaround, or at least another source of economy or reduction in this case to play the things they need.
The interesting thing about rings, we never call it rings really, do we?
I never do.
I'm glad.
I usually call it loter or something.
The interesting thing about it is like a lot of those events you can chain out. But they're all like 1 cost, and so like you have to choose.
It can't last forever.
You could chainsaw this one out pretty good, especially out of lore.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, this 1 cost event that draws cards or that searches the encounter deck. Now I can just use those infinitely.
Yep.
So I like this a lot, and I think it fits with the theme.
It is only the first event.
Oh, you're right. You got me.
Kicker.
You read it and you want it, and then you fail.
You gotta read that card, bro.
Well, I'm glad that they limited that because otherwise that could be kind of chainsaw.
Yeah, you could just snowball out of control.
Do you see the green leafy stuff on the right side of this card? That is beautiful.
On the right side of this card.
Straight up beautiful. On the outskirts there.
Oh yeah,
that green leaf.
It's wonderful.
I think it may be like that on all the neutrals. I never noticed, but
oh yeah,
it looks particularly good in this one because it is leafy.
Well, on the other ones, they actually have that nice like viney stuff crawling up the pillars, which is always nice.
Yeah, all good.
All right.
So next we have the Rivendell Scout.
That's right.
This is cool. Another Scout in Noldor's. 2 cost, 1 willpower, 1 attack, 0 defense,
Wah, wah.
but the all-important 2 health.
2 health,
days.
critical.
And secrecy 2, so he comes out for free when you're in secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Because here's something important, right? The cost of a card in your deck is a cost,
yes.
for sure, a slot.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just assume that you get this guy out for 0, and he's a 1 willpower, 1 attack, 2 health guy.
Right.
Is that worth it to you? He's a Noldor.
He is Noldor.
That's fun.
I would have been more excited if he were Sylvan because we're seeing a lot of that mechanic, but he won't work with any of those effects. But this is interesting. Generally, ceteris paribus, I would say this is not worth it. It's not something I would go for because you get 1 default card every turn in this game. Card draw is something of a sticky wicket. It's nowhere near as easy as in other games that we play regularly. So unless you're doing something that is very in theme, mechanically, thematically, or otherwise,
Maybe some Scout synergy.
Yeah, some Scout synergy, or you're just doing secrecy. Like at that point, having a 2 hit point, more or less chud, for free, reasonable.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't fault it too much unless you're not in secrecy.
Yeah, if you're not in secrecy,
yeah,
pass.
just forget
Hard
about it.
pass.
Yeah.
Even if you mean to be in secrecy and you're not, you just don't play him for 2.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no way that's worth it.
I agree.
Well, rarely.
Rarely.
I've learned to say no way. Because
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
but
there might be the thing you want that trait for either Noldor or a Scout, so don't write them off completely, but by and large, secrecy decks only. Fair. All right, next up, we have Feigned Voices. Caca.
awesome art.
Yeah, I know.
It looks like it's either awesome art or it's like she looks like she should be eating like a coney or something.
Yeah, there's an invisible hot dog right there. All right, so this is a 0-cost leadership event, and then it says combat action, return a Sylvan ally you control
Oh, it's so good
to your
already.
hand to choose an enemy engaged with a player, so any player, you or otherwise, but it has to be an ally you control.
This is crazy.
That enemy cannot attack that player this way. So this is a leadership feint if you have Sylvan characters or Sylvan allies.
This is
in play.
incredible. We've already seen the Sylvan leave play interplay thing.
Yeah.
Being in it.
This is fantastic. This is, I guess, like the second event up until now that has a 0-cost bouncy Sylvan effect going on. So this is great. It makes the theme work mechanically, and it's not just, like, oh, we're Sylvans just dancing around being silly here. But they're actually doing stuff. That's
Over
awesome.
here.
Yeah. So leadership has a 0-cost feint now, and then it works with all the recursion that Sylvans want to play with.
Crazy good.
Love it.
You'll see that in the old Sylvan decks.
Yeah, I don't think this could get much better.
Or maybe even not in dedicated Sylvan decks.
Yes.
Certainly you'll see them there. But
Sometimes you just want to bounce a Sylvan.
sometimes bounces Sylvan.
I like bouncing them.
Let's talk about Rumil. Is that right?
Sure.
Rumil.
Yes.
4 costs, 2 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, and 2 health. Now something's got to be going on here because for 4, I'm not impressed yet.
So far, not impressed.
He is a tactics ally. He's a Sylvan and a Scout. He does have range that helps, but there's this big
Helps a bit.
response I'm really excited about reading. After you play him from your hand, choose an enemy engaged with a player. Okay, so I play him, choose an enemy engaged with you.
Any
Deal
player.
X damage. I'm going to choose you though.
Okay.
Deal X damage to that enemy, where X is the number of ranged characters you control.
Now it's
I
bananas.
see.
Now it's just
Okay,
bananas.
so this can just be absolutely bonkers.
Bypasses defense.
That's bypasses defense.
Yep. Just
Are you
deals
kidding
damage.
me?
Yeah. Just dealing damage.
This-
Bam!
wow, this guy's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. What if we have Feigned Voices with this guy?
Oh my gosh, you just
He's
bounce
a
him in and out.
Sylvan.
Yeah.
And he comes in and the leadership, man.
Yeah,
Wowzers.
it's going to be great. I don't see any reason to not run this guy. This is Haldir's bro, literally, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't.
Lore-wise. So this is a great little card here. I think that Tactics will enjoy this because there's a lot of ranged allies and heroes, characters just across the board.
Just a little Lord of the Rings quiz.
Mhm.
Is is sneak attack and put into play effect, right? So
I
it would
believe so,
not
yeah.
work with play from your hand.
I'm gonna say not. I think they want you to pay that 4 cost there.
I think they do too.
I think they want.
Which is why I don't want to.
It's reasonable.
It's totally reasonable to pay that.
Yeah.
I would pay that. And then you got a beefy dude.
Because you got a pretty beefy dude, good stats with
2
range,
willpower.
and if you have a couple other range guys, which should be easy with elves and Sylvans in particular, I see no problems making this work.
Range is becoming awesome. And I'm glad that it is range and sentinel both, because they really do make you play Lord of the Rings in the way that I want to be playing it.
You mean cooperatively?
Cooperatively. Yeah. It's like, hey, I'll take some of your damage.
Yeah, let's work as a team, why don't we?
No problem.
Let's do it.
What is this armor all about? Can you give me the scoop on this armor?
Wait,
I've got the Elven
Yeah,
mail.
you got the Elven mail. I don't have that one.
I'm gonna talk about it then. It's a 2-cost item armor. Attached to a Noldor or Sylvan character, so we could put it on that leadership guy.
Anybody you want.
Restricted. An attached character gets +2 hit points and gains Sentinel right out of the horse's mouth.
Right.
Me being the horse there. I was saying how much I like Sentinel there. Impressive.
It's great.
It's fine. I mean, for 2, it's pretty solid. I can imagine there's a lot of like...
Does it say hero on that? Attach it to a hero or a character?
No, character.
That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it said character.
Yeah.
Because that's great.
I mean, if you're going to run this, you know you're going to run it.
Yes.
We don't need to say much about it. 2 hit points and Sentinel.
Yeah,
Is that what you want?
I've been using that already. I can't remember which son of Elrond it is that is leadership sphere, but he has the ability after he defends, pay a resource off of him to Meridian.
Yeah.
Giving him Sentinel an extra 2 hit points is just the bee's knees.
And you can attach this to your friends.
Yes.
And I think that's, again...
Glorfindel would love that.
What it's all about.
He would love to have 7 hit points. He's just a tank.
Are you on Greyflood?
Yeah, let's talk about some Greyflood Wanderers.
I love that name, by the way.
It's a great name.
Wait, do you know anything about Greyflood? What is this?
It's a river.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the river that's near, Rivendell, and flows to other places, of course. All right, so
As rivers
as rivers do, they go other places. So this is a 3-cost, 2 willpowery, 1 attacky, 2 defendy, 2 hit pointy. Dunedain Scout, Dunedain, I can never quite remember that. But he reads, you may give Greyflood Wanderer Doom 2 when you play it from your hand. If you do, it gains response. After you play Greyflood Wanderer, place 1 progress token on each location in play.
These effects keep coming back around, like in more significant and maybe more balanced ways.
Are you talking about that OP tracker?
Yeah, it's like, I'll just win the game here. This is impressive. I love the balancing mechanic. I don't like paying 3 for it, but I'll do it.
Yeah. It's reasonable. I mean, it's reasonable for what sphere it belongs to. Paying 3, 2 hit points for 2 willpower out of that sphere with that kind of like finishing effect is just nice. And again, it's Dunedain and Scout, both things that we're probably going to see a lot more effects and cards and synergy for as the packs and expansions go on.
Yeah, as a spirit player, I would definitely hold this guy for a while.
And
it's like, well, if you have something that can add progress tokens, maybe have some horses out or something. It's like, we need that thing done, and it's like horse out and then play this dude and get 3 on it.
A lot of horses with you today.
Yeah. Horsing.
I like some horses.
Let's talk about the Warden of Arnor, shall we? A 1-cost unique title. And you attach it to a scout hero. Hero.
Good to know.
Playing a little... Looks like he's building a cake there on the art.
I want flags here and here. He's totally going to mash that side of the cake, though.
Watch out. Watch out, cake. While attached character is committed to the quest, place 1 progress on the first location revealed by the encounter deck each round. Yeah.
It's reasonable for 1.
Would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I would
do it. Is it
do
worth a deck slot, though, really?
It's a tough call. Like, that's the problem. We all know about deck building. Is this worth 2 or 3 slots? Probably not. Is it worth the 1? Then you ask yourself more difficult questions. It's like, how often am I going to see this thing?
Yeah.
There's only 1 in 50-plus cards.
You probably, It's kind of the Thrones thing. They like to get a spread of different cards so that you're always playing, like, it's like, oh, it's always a surprise when my 1 Warden comes out.
Yeah.
But the effect is good, but is it that good? Here's the thing, is like, so... if I have a lot of stuff that can explore locations in the staging area, it's one thing, right? It makes a lot of sense. If I don't have that, then getting 1 on a location isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because generally when we explore stuff, we explore it with some breathing room.
Yeah,
almost
totally.
all the time. So having one extra doesn't really make that much of a difference. But
Yeah.
again, paired with the horses,
Paired
the
with
Gondor,
horses.
the Rohan stuff.
Now the good thing about this card in particular is that it does only work with a hero, and though that is a limitation, you know that you're probably going to be running that deck with a hero.
Yeah, you need to have one.
With a scout hero, excuse me. So if you do draw it, you will be able to use it unless you're just doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if your hero has died, then
Yeah,
the warden is going to say you're
yeah.
done.
So I don't know. This is like the Thalin of locations attachment. So use it if you want it. If you like the fluff, go for it. Hard to say otherwise.
I will.
I will.
I will.
All right. Next up, we have message from Elrond.
Ooh, must be important.
Yes, that's always important from Elrond. You left the oven on. 0 cost lore event action. Choose a player. That player may choose one card from his hand and add it to another player's hand. At the end of the round, if the chosen card is in that player's hand or in play, shuffle it into its owner's deck.
I'm about to read this for a second.
Slowly and again.
There was a lot of.
There's some giggling intermixed with that reading.
Choose a player. That player may choose one card from his hand. Okay, so I choose you. You choose a card in your hand and add it to another player's hand.
Yes.
Any other player.
All this player choosing
So you
makes
pass
me
it
feel
over
like
there.
a Pokemon or something. I don't know. I choose
At
you.
the end of the round, the chosen card is in that player's hand or in play. Shuffle news. So this is a way to give your homies events and stuff.
Yes.
And then they can use them, and then...
In my mind, this is a lore shortcut for resource sharing or giving. So if somebody has something that they can play that you have, now they have the opportunity to utilize it because you're just not in a position to. It doesn't cost you anything. So it's just lore doing something to kind of further facilitate cards getting played where they otherwise might be waiting on the player who actually has them getting a chance to do that.
I feel like this kind of card in the right group could be massively amazing.
Yeah.
And in most groups, very underwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But also always a lot of fun. It's like, I choose you. Who do you choose?
Well, this card and cards like it are important and not worth dismissing because just like in Game of Thrones, Netrunner, or whatever, there's essentially two sides of the game. The actual playing it and then the game outside of it where you're deck building and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the good players in Lord of the Rings, the players who will accomplish what they're trying to do questing-wise, are the players who build their decks together. And so it's like, oh man, I'm running completely Spirit, but the other guy who I'm playing with who's running completely Lore, he's the one who includes Asphaleth in his deck because he has the resources to play it on my Glorfindel to make it that much better.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the kind of thing, it's like, oh man, do I see like a potential pinch in the deck building and gameplay flow? So I'll throw this in.
It's also a good way to
facilitate
pass
that.
Gandalf around, right?
Yeah, totally.
Pass Gandalf to Tactics guy and be like, hey, can you sneak attack this homie out?
Yeah, yeah. Now you can.
Please.
Now you can.
Finally, let's talk about some noiseless movement. 1 cost event. It is an action. It's a lore too, which is important.
It's very
Choose an
lore-y.
enemy in the staging area. That enemy does not make engagement checks this round.
Oh.
Oh. Then if your threat is 20 or less, and this is the first time you played a copy of this card, return it to your hand instead of discarding it.
Ah, hey.
So lore secrecy keeps getting awesome.
I'm gonna keep sneaking around you. Yeah, this is great. Automatic recursion for 1.
No engagement checks.
Yeah.
Sneak around, deal with the threat in the staging area instead of having to deal with it in your physique.
Yeah.
Your
because
body.
Because there's a lot of that stuff going around. I mean, if you're fighting trolls or whatever, it's just like, can you
just stay out,
can you
please.
just stay there for an extra
The
turn?
second they start to come in,
more.
it's like, this game just
Nobody wants to
got
fight trolls. unless they have
bad.
to. I mean, we
Just got
remember Boromir and
Look who got
Fellowship. He's just like
sacked.
the kind of like sigh that he said, oh, they have a cave troll. It's pretty much sums it up.
we know we can handle it probably.
It's just like,
but
do we
it's
have
just
to?
a pain.
Man,
It's just
what an
annoying.
inconvenience. So there you have it.
Well, yeah, I'll say this is a great pack, man. The design continues to me to get cleaner and better.
More, better, best.
Just the way that cards are worded, the way that things are working out, like giving things such as the if you take doomed and this thing happens, really like that. And we've seen some strong support here. We see that some range support hugely from Rumil.
Yeah.
I always just try to say it like Saruman or something, and I know that I get it
If I
wrong.
were Saruman, how would this one sound?
And a lot of support for Bouncing Sylvans here. We've got the range support. We've got some Spirit Hosses going on.
Yeah.
It's
There's something for everyone in this pack.
I like it.
It's great.
I like it a lot. It's a very nice pack.
Some good neutral things as well.
So it's called the 3 Trials, huh?
The 3 Trials.
The 3 Trials. Alliteration at its finest.
The
Thank
most
you guys
alliterative pack to date.
for watching our unboxing here. If you want this pack, then get it. Buy it. We do have it for sale if that's something you're into. And let us know.
Things?
Let us know how you like it. It's the best way to get the pack. Don't steal it.
Don't steal it.
Let us know how you like it in the comments, either here or elsewhere. And we got plenty more coming for you, so stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching.